completed now, 10 laps of the 120 that will make up the scheduled distance here this afternoon in the Hershey's Kisses 300. Harvick, Hornaday, Robbie Gordon, Earnhardt Jr. and Johnny Sauter are the top 5 from Daytona. You're watching NASCAR on NBC. Back in Daytona, the big crash has just happened off turn 2. At least 8 or 9 cars involved. Heavy contact. You see the 33 of Paul Menard, one of the cars involved, and the car with the heavy front end that's smoking straight in front of us is Wally.
We see the 38 car of Casey Kane back there. Wally is putting the window net down, taking his gloves off.
He was 12th last time by the start-finish line, so it happened right up toward the front of the field. To Mike Bliss's car here, the red 20 machine.
That one. Gets a great run on the bottom of the racetrack, but it gets loose off the corner and goes up and catches. Is that Strimmy and Wally?
Yeah. Johnny Benson in the 1, Nemechek in the 87.
One more look.
Looked like he just had a big run to the inside of Mike Wallace and then decided that hole was closing up.
Yeah, a lot of times you get that feel that you've got a push there and you've really got to run and you want to take advantage of it, and then the next thing your car starts to push a little bit off that corner and you jerk the wheel and then the back end goes out from under you, and then you're in a bad position, as we can see right here.
And Leffler almost got him in the 0-0, but Bliss goes back across the racetrack, runs right in the side of Wally. Now he has no steering, and watch him just go straight down and hit the inside wall. He's trying to get it to go the right, but he can't steer the car. He sees the wall coming, and about this time is when you close your eyes because you're not going to like that.
Ouch.
Yeah, it almost looked like the throttle might have been hung on that. You could see the front tires weren't turning there, but he had the brakes on. But wow, that's a hard lick. This happened. There were about 25 cars in this pack, so it happened kind of right in the middle of them.
Dave, what about the 20 car?
Mike radioed in right after that he was, you saw where he was in the middle of the track. He said, I got in the middle. He said the back end just came around. I don't know what happened, if the air got taken off of it or whatever, but he realizes the back end of the car just came right out from under him.
So caution out for this crash on the backstretch. At least 6-7 cars involved.
Was that Jason Keller in the 22 car? Or was that the 87 of Nemechek went down toward the inside? Couldn't tell.
87, yeah. On board the 38 of Casey Kane.
He gets inside of Nemechek and goes for a ride.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Casey and Joe.
That's from on board Wally's car.
Open, one car down low, middle's open. Stay there. Well, hey, just wipe this out, guys. Wally, you okay?
The engine wasn't, the throttle wasn't hung, just couldn't stop it.
Yeah, it just can't get stopped.
Because you'd knocked the brakes off when he made contact with that car.
You know, you like to run that high line a lot of times to keep the car wound up and it can go.
Sorry,
but
guys,
the thing I always hate about being in the high line, if something does happen, you have nowhere to go. You're there. And just like we saw with Casey Kane and Joe Nemechek, they were both probably okay just trying to avoid. Joe just moved down to try to avoid the accident, and Casey happened to be there trying to go to the bottom too, and took both of those out.
It's on board Mike Bliss's car. Oof. Johnny Benson.
Got the back here, front too hard.
Now you know how those bowling pins feel in the bowling alley when they start banging off each other.
He's up in the top 5, taking the lead for a moment as he battles there on the high line. I asked Kevin, are you going to hang back? Because it would be easy to do that, or are you going to the front? Oh, and we have a crash on the track.
Turn 4. Paul Wolf finally spun off turn 4, and around he goes. It's going to collect about 10 cars.
You could just see when he was in the center of that pack, he was having a hard time keeping that thing in the middle lane.
43 is Josh Richardson. Mike Wallace just crashed onto pit road, scattering somebody's pit crew.
22 got, well, he got in that grass, and that grass is still wet. You cannot slow down in this grass.
Martin Truex, Paul Wolf, we called his number earlier.
Oh, man.
That's Mike Wallace, who crashed into the pit wall.
Watch that 6 car in the center. It just didn't seem like he could stay in the middle. He was going down, he was starting up.
Oh boy, hit Kyle Busch.
And Busch somehow keeps control.
And I don't know how Michael Waltrip got through there either.
And Junior was under the 6 car, and Wolf tried to come down. Junior was there. He had to go back up. He got the car going back and forth, and just finally could not save it off turn 4.
Watch Michael Waltrip in the 99. I don't know how he gets through this thing. Right there. Watch this. Whoa!
Right in front of Fedewa, Josh Richardson.
And now I see Mike Wallace into the grass. He'll end up across the pit lane and into the wall, protecting the pit crews from the racing cars.
I don't know what the heck, why he went up the track like that so much. I think just broke loose on him.
Daytona rookie lesson.
You know, and he's part of a program called the Hungry Drivers Program. And at the end of the year, hopefully one of these 4 drivers are going to use this year would get a free ride. He did not do himself any good today, did he?
Coming at you.
Yeah, Busch did a good job saving that car.
It'll be 17 laps to go, and they come.
Here we go, here we go, here we go.
Around goes the 38, the 4, the 1, the 33.
Look out pit
Casey
road, look
Kane,
out
the
pit
38.
road, look out pit road.
The 46, the 95,
Johnny
and the
Benson.
12.
You know, that's a place we've not normally seen the big wreck break out, right in the middle of the tri-oval.
I believe with this package that through the tri-oval, when people get under you, it just loosens you up just enough to get you sideways.
Mike Bliss, Casey Kane climbs out of his car. He's okay. And here coming into the tri-oval to complete lap 100. Bottom of your screen.
Like Mike Wallace got a little bit loose right there, like you talked, Darrell, and then came back up into the car that was on the outside of
Yeah,
it.
he bounced off a biffle, and when he did, there was a car under him, and they got together, and then away they went.
Of course, half the field's behind him here shortly after a restart.
Boy, everybody jacked up from behind him.
Tell you what, the tri-oval here, I know people, you know, you just don't realize how you're going 190 mile an hour through a tri-oval that's got 14 degrees of banking. Can suck you around in a hurry.
This would be looking from like pit road.
Casey Kane turned around.
Typical Talladega wreck.
Yeah.
2 cars get together, 12, 13 cars end up being victim.
Yeah, Benson slammed up into the wall, and Bliss.
Well, watch that
Menard at the
38
grass.
car go all the way across pit lane and slam right into it right there.
In real time. Let's have another look.
And in real time, that means at 190 plus miles per hour. That was riding with Ashton Lewis. Looked like at one point he almost made it through the wreck.
Man, those are hard licks.
Into the safer barrier. And driving away. Jason Keller.
He was one of the lucky ones. He made it through. Remember, Jason was one of the ones at the beginning of the race had the strategy of staying behind everybody to try to see if they could get out of the big wreck. Well, he better figure it out soon. 2 to go this time. The top 4 single file. They put about 5 car lengths back there to that group that's 3 and 4 wide.
Oh, around goes Boyer off the bumper of Hamilton, who takes another car into the wall with him.
Now, caution is out. The field is frozen with 2 to go. As long as they maintain caution speed up there, Martin Truex Jr. will be the winner of this race. The field is frozen right now at the point of caution. Flag rule was 5 to go.
Which means that they would not restart the race See, Hamilton got below the line, and as he came back up, he got into Boyer. And there's Raines in the wall.
Mike Wallace is still going to end up with a 12th place finish, it looks like, even after being involved in that first accident.
Grissom's involved in that in the 36, and Tracy Hines in the 6.
When I watch the 25 car, though, as we watch it again, let's watch this.
That's the red car, bottom of your screen.
3 wide in front of him.
This is through the tri-oval.
Michael in the middle. He gets a run down underneath the Boyer. He's below the yellow line, and that's the whole point of the yellow line, is to keep us from doing that right there.
I tell you, the saving grace on the 21 car, every time he goes backwards, just look, those roof flaps deploy.
Now watch the first red car in line on the inside. There he goes.
He could have used better judgment there.
Yeah, I mean, there was no room.
Oh, and he took himself out in 3 or 4 more.
Yep, he took Tony Raines, the car behind him in the wall. Awful. Tracy Hines sideways, the number 6.
Yeah, the Ragu.
And Steve Grissom.
All the guys that you really pull for to have good finishes, they get taken out on the last lap.
Ride with Jay Keller. Ron Hornaday's crew. See, Hamilton Jr. turned sideways and up in the wall because when he lost his forward momentum after getting Boyer, he got hit by Nemechek.
And of course, even though it looks like Ron Hornaday will finish 3rd, the crew.
There's more. They're still wrecking. Look at that.
A big pile up in turn 2, and it happened well off the lead in about the 3rd pack of cars. As they ran 3 wide and got closer and closer, something finally gave. Casey Atwood's in it. Justin Labonte's in it. Up against the wall, that looks like Justin Ashburn. Ashton Lewis was there. Gus Wasson and the 79 of Keith Mert, who had just gotten the free pass on the last caution, and Johnny Sauter as well.
You know, the interesting thing about that was some of the cars actually wrecked after the wreck already had happened. Here comes some cars that didn't get slowed down quick enough. See if we can see what happened back in here. I think I see a blue car going to hit a green one. Yep.
Oh, that's Fidoa going sideways.
Yeah.
I believe that was Jeff Spraker in the 56. We just had talked about him, gets into the back of him. DW, this is the trouble spot of this racetrack off turn 2, always is.
Yeah, it is.
Well, Fidoa was lucky to get away because the big pileups out in the middle of the racetrack.
The whole thing about it is, there you think back to Casey Kane in Cup practice. There's a big dip right down there in the middle of 1 and 2. And when you hit that dip, it upsets the car, and you never quite catch up with it. And sometimes you just get out of control off 2.
Not sure who that is, but he manages to drive right through it all without getting hit. All right, watch the bright green car of Fidoa right there on the right of your screen.
Here comes yeah, that's Spraker underneath of him, and he just pushes up into him. There's Ashton Lewis and the rest of the crowd.
Fidoa drives away.
Lucky man.
But when Ashton Lewis drove to the right to miss it, actually he got into it and things stacked up behind him, and you see they're still wrecking back there.
And DW, we see that a lot. The car wants to move up the racetrack right there.
Yeah, the driver just, it sucks the air off the nose, and the front of the car takes off, and you can't do anything about it except either hit the wall or the guy beside you. It's a really tough spot right on this racetrack.
Now there's the rest of it unfolding.
That's why a lot of guys like to run off that corner real high. So you get up high there, you get a little bit better angle. Get down low, it just seems like the car wants to pick up a great big push. And it takes off, and when it does, you can't do anything about it.
Riding with Kenny Wallace right here. This is what it looked like out of his rear bumper back at this wreck.
Well, let's look at it from up above and see how all this unfolds. There's the green car left of your screen. There's the initial contact. Now watch that white car go to the outside, and that's where the log jam is, right there.
There's a couple of, as you come off turn 2 over, there's a couple of dips, and in the front of the car starts bouncing, and into the car on the outside it goes.
And the car I wondered about that drove through the grass and drove away was Derek Coates. One of them couldn't win it.
It's a dead heat with 1 to go. Michael Waltrip on the inside, Jason Leffler on the outside. White flag.
White flag. Let's go out here.
I tell you.
Uh-oh.
What? What do you see that I don't see?
Turn 3 is what I see. They're in turn 2 right now.
Boy, this is going to get, this has got
Clear, coming back.
What I see is 60.
he's funny. Oh, man. Leffler got into the back of Mikey and Spunny.
All right, no caution yet. No caution.
Oh, man.
Leaders at 3.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. He goes to the high side. Leffler's trying to block him. Look at Mike Wallace in the 4 on the bottom.
Leffler went up, and Wallace is going to win it, or is he?
Leffler
It's not over with yet.
Leffler put Junior in the wall.
Checkered flags in the air. No caution.
Mike Wallace.
Oh,
turn 2.
Over there.
3 cars in it. Kyle Busch got a small piece of Stanton Barrett after he crashed with Ryan Hemphill.
Caution is out.
36 got him, boys.
As you can see, a lot of movement back in here. Everybody's trying to jockey for positions.
Left of your screen, the number 4.
Looks like the Hemphill looks like he had a problem of some kind, and drew the 36 car into him. Actually,
Yeah, it looked like he had already started to get loose and probably had to roll out of the throttle. That was a hard lick into the outside wall.
Yes.
But we have safer barriers here.
Another look at it at speed. So now, Larry, do you stay out or do you come in?
Can you say your bed has been made, you have to lay in it? Especially for that 81 car.
no. Can you say, I can't hear you?
Yeah, in fact, if I'm the 81.
Well, that will get you in big time trouble.
Kevin Harvick in the 21. He's going to squeeze up between Paul.
Oh, there they go, right there.
There it is. J.J. Yaley in the 18.
No, it's the whole field. That'll be half the field right there. They're gone.
At least.
Daryl, I see
Right in the
maybe
middle. Come on.
There's not a car.
10 or 11 cars.
You're all clear. If you can keep rolling, keep
Got one
rolling.
on fire down there. It goes out, but try.
There's the first car spun around, the 18 of J.J. Yaley.
Kyle Busch in the 5.
They got all bottlenecked up down here. I think you're going to see right in here. That's where the contact was all made. I think that's the 38 car.
It is.
Casey Mears. And it was on from there.
We're looking at it. Here comes the 38. There's the 09. And what happened was the 38 tried to squeeze in between 44 there of Labonte, and it got him up into the 09 of Wallace, and that's when they took off.
And to me, the luckiest man that we just have here is Kevin Harvick in the 21. He had just cleared this group, moving back to the front.
Joe Ruttman sneaks through with minimal damage in the 95. Justin Labonte goes through on the bottom.
But Sorensen had a hard lick on the right side there.
Let's ride with Kenny Wallace.
If you need it, clear high if you need it. They got the 11 hung up there by itself. Stay down. We're in it, boys. We're in it. Hold what you got, Kenny. Hold it up high. Hold it up high. Hold it up high. Right in the middle. Come on. All right, you're all clear. You're all clear. If you can keep rolling, keep rolling.
That was all of it. Mark Truex was in the middle of this, too. The number 8.
Kenny Wallace has just looked at this. These cars are wrecking all in front of him and around him. He did get some right side damage because he got in the outside wall, but it could have been a whole lot worse.
You know, the best I can tell, 4 of our top 5 in points were involved in that wreck. The only one that was not involved is Clint Boyer in the 2 car. Came in here 3rd in points.
He goes backwards. He's got to keep that thing stuck right up the back of somebody or he can't run. Oh, here.
Clint Boyer in 2.
And there goes Stewart into the mud. And I don't think he's got much damage.
I got it.
Other than underneath. Randy LaJoy,
the 34 car.
Hang on to it, Randy.
He's got mud all over his tires right now.
Well. So caution is out. Officially, this would be the 4th caution of the day. And it comes out at lap 53. Have a look at how this starts, Daryl. Watch the 2.
I think he gets up off the bottom just a little bit right there and opens the door. Tony starts looking under him, and they make contact. Sterling got a pretty hard lick.
Did you see LaJoie go all the way down through the grass? I mean, that's off-roading at its finest, that yellow car. He gets away.
But he keeps it out of trouble, I think.
I think what happened here is Tony gets that nose. He did the same thing to Kevin Harvick earlier. He gets the nose stuck up under the back of that 2 car, moves him up a little bit, and opens the bottom up slightly. He looks in there, and there's no place to go.
And Boyer came right back in front of him, and Stewart went for a long slide through the mud. We're off-roading now, fellas. We're at Talladega.
It's like the mosh pit. Now, you know, I'm looking at Tony Stewart's car going by here.
Sterling hit the back of Tony's car pretty hard.
That's where the damage from the 40 came.
But it's all in the back.
I got it. Keep it rolling. Watch the 34 up here. He's spinning across the track.
Back on the racetrack, grabbing a gear.
I don't think that car is hurt that badly.
Watch Randy LaJoie. I can't believe this. Of course, he is from Connecticut. You get a lot of rain and snow up there.
That thing is just slip sliding away, baby. Out
this
into
is
the
where he was lucky, though, right here.
Yeah, he doesn't have much control over it right here, like he did have before.
Well, you know, all those years of driving the Merritt Parkway, he's got to help.
See a little bit of damage on the front valence, but not much.
No, he continued.
At different agendas on those pit stops. Denny Hamlin took 2 tires that time. On Nemechek took 4 as Nemechek goes by Hamlin, or tries to.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Here we go again, boys.
And
Casey
up and over
Mears.
goes Casey Mears.
What a day. I don't think I've ever seen I've been here, coming here for 30 years. I've never seen a day like this.
That was ugly. Hamlin got turned and squeezed up into 2 cars on the high side, one of which was Mears.
There he is. What's left of him.
Somebody went sideways.
I think what happened was we mentioned the cars that were not torn up.
Mears and Hamlin discussing what happened and why.
I'm not sure they agree exactly what happened there.
See if we can figure it out. Now watch Hamlin right in the middle row in the front.
Nemechek just starts coming down, down, down. Looks like he's trying to get down in front of Denny Hamlin in the 20 car, and they just didn't have enough room.
And that's what Hamlin was trying to explain to Casey Mears. He kept using that chopping motion with his right hand.
Exactly.
Explaining that Nemechek came down in front of him and turned him.
And forced him into Casey Mears.
Yeah, unless the replay shows us different, it definitely looked like Joe Nemechek just did not have Denny Hamlin cleared. Hamlin in the 20 just kept going down. There was nowhere else to go except into Casey Mears.
See Joe up on the outside there in the 87 car.
Look at the white lines. You see Joe move over.
Yeah. He just was trying to, I think he thought he had him cleared. Spotter may have even told him he was clear. Boy, that 38 car, Casey Mears, it took a ride right there. Stayed on its lid, didn't start tumbling. That's one good thing.
And the good thing, Darrell, I never saw a car hit him after he was on his roof sliding.
Saw David Green involved. This is from Kevin Harvick.
Harvick actually has quite a bit of damage right in the center of the nose.
Keep going, you all right?
Yeah, if he didn't bust a radiator, they might.
Yeah, we need a radiator, boys.
I think that answered that.
From David Stremmy's car.
That's amazing.
And he's one of the lucky ones, Stremme.
Well, Darrell, a 737 will, of course, it's designed to take off, but it will take off at, what, 160 some miles an hour. These cars are running 185, and the roof flaps do their job to keep that car from getting way up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, that all happened so fast, I don't think the roof flaps ever even had a chance.
No,
71, Kevin LePage involved. We did not count him as being part of this.
81, the red 81.
3 abreast.
Truex on the inside.
Oh, man. Wow. He laid up against that 8 car, didn't he? Talk about the 5 car of Kyle Busch.
Gotta be careful going in these corners like that. Side by side, really close to each other, because that's when the cars lose the spoiler. And there you go.
He's around. He's into the grass.
All right, go.
Wow. He's got it pointed the right direction, spinning water. Carl Edwards, caution is out.
Just put it in gear and go, Carl. Attaboy. Can you believe that?
That looked cool.
We saw these guys going turn 3 wide. Now they come to the tri-oval. And here, the 5 car goes down, makes contact with the 8.
Well, it looks like Casey Kane at 38 came up on the 5 really, really fast in the tri-oval, got the 5 loose, which happens here at Daytona a lot. Carl Edwards
trying to pull a Tony Stewart.
Along for the ride.
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yep.
But at least in all that mud, he couldn't dig in, right?
Let's take a look. See if they really got a run on the 5 car. See the 5 in the middle?
Wow.
Now he's already loose before
Yeah.
Casey got there.
And Carl just turned left at 190 miles per hour and goes down through the mud.
Pretty spectacular.
That wasn't. He can't see anything.
Yeah. It was hard to tell who it was when it first happened. Here they go.
Boy, that's lucky only one guy got involved in that. That could have been
Can you believe that?
a big one.
I mean, these guys are racing for about 5th or 6th spot, and only one guy gets off the racetrack.
Well, we told you it rained here a little bit yesterday.
He never backed off the gas, did he?
Yeah, he did get out of there a little bit. Strong. I don't know if they're going to have enough of a run.
It just doesn't look like Truex is fast enough to keep those guys. Oh, trouble! There's that caution I was talking about.
Several cars involved. This is coming out of 2 down the backstretch, and they're still wrecking. Well,
That's Randy LaJoy with a hood stuck up in the air.
Big one coming late.
Well, they're going to green-white checker.
Yes, they are.
See what happened there? Well, they're stacked up.
Listen, the 30, LaJoy and the Dollar General got.
They were all going to the middle,
Yeah.
it looked like, and
Got hit by John Wood in the 47 car and just turned around.
Justin Labonte in the 44.
Denny Hamlin, 20 car, just pushing the 47 down the racetrack.
Boy, Denny Hamlin had a rough start and a rough finish to this race. And back here,
Regan Smith and Jason Keller. Regan Smith in the 58, Jason Keller in 35. That's Bliss in the 30 car going through the middle.
that LaJoy looks like he turned down into the middle. He was trying to get to the middle.
that's John Wood in the 47.
Run into by John Wood. And then all these guys behind just had nowhere to go.
Ashton Lewis to 25. He's not going to get through that, is he?
And Bliss was in front of the wreck and still ended up in it.
And you can't see anything at this point when you're behind that wreck with all the smoke.
I believe Ashton Lewis got through that wreck somehow. Must have some damage.
Scored in 16th.
And the red flag, NASCAR has thrown out the flag so to get this cleanup taken care of.
That means no work can be done on the cars. Once the red flag is put out, cars will be stopped on the track. On board with Ashton Lewis. Let's take a look, Benny.
Yeah, I wonder if he got through without hitting anything. Here we go.
Not quite.
Not quite, no. Just the outside wall of another car is all.
Other than that, he got through pretty clean.
That was cars with an S, wasn't it?
Turned Justin Labonte right up into the wall. Into the safer barrier, at least. Wow, lots of debris.
Reed Sorensen, the 41 car, second in the NASCAR Busch Series points.
Got the softer barrier there since I've hit that wall.
On board with Kyle Busch.
I think Kyle gets through it.
Watch it, get down. Low.
How about?
Oh!
It's Kevin Harvick's crew. All right, Dave Burns.
With Brian.
Oh, trouble, turn 4.
Caution is out.
Oh, don't slide up there.
Reed Sorensen.
Sure is.
Oh, wow.
That's somebody that doesn't understand the rules right there.
Yeah.
AB.
Outside pole sitter.
There you see Sauter. I mean, just that tire let go. He had no place to go, and Aaron Fike was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm not sure what happened with Reed.
That's exactly what I was wondering. We might want to look at that again.
Reed got tagged up in the corner. He got tagged up in the corner. Here we go. See, the 41 is coming along.
Oh, I got him right in the quarter, right at the bumper. Yep. Yeah. You're good, BP.
See, Johnny Sauter had slowed down, almost crashed the lap previous, and I watched him down the front stretch. He was slow. I guess he was waiting for that caution flag. And when you wait for that caution flag, you are the time you become the caution
yes,
flag.
Sir, you're right. Exactly right.
That's why these guys are going so fast when these guys are wrecking. They've had enough time to see the wreck is happening. You still got guys that are flying, trying to hurry up to get to the wreck.
Mike Walter looks back. Ashley's in
right
front
of you. You see him down. You see him. Come on down if you can. You see it. Come on up. See the 41 right there. You got one inside you. Clear low. There you go. Come on.
Now here it is, real speed. Watch and listen. The caution is out at Daytona. You're watching NASCAR live on TNT. In NASCAR racing, when the caution comes out, the field is frozen. Drivers are supposed to slow down immediately.
I mean, look at this. These guys are wrecking, and then all of a sudden, here's this guy comes flying through the field.
This has to be
it's
a rookie.
It's got to be a rookie.
Somebody doesn't know what they're doing.
No, it just happens to be Joe Nemechek with no brakes.
He couldn't slow down. And we listened to the radio communication between himself and
the car. But it's early in the race. You don't need to be in that big of a hurry. Jeff Burton also made a...
Oh, here we go. Trouble.
That's Menard and the 60 of Carl Edwards. Cars diving down pit road and several through the grass.
Oh, and he just clipped. Who was that? 38? Is that A.J. Foyt?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we got a little bit of damage.
I do too.
Oh, brother.
That's in the middle of the infield grass between pit road and the tri-oval. Foyt's car has come to a rest at the end of pit road.
430 sitting on pit road. Let's see what happened there.
It looks like they just got squeezed. I don't know who that is, but he was squeezed in the middle and got into Carl Edwards in the 60 car.
And he just barely clipped the 38. All these new paint schemes. Hard to identify some of these cars. There
32 car.
Jason Leffler.
Leffler gets in there and he just sticks his nose in there and wanted enough room. And that's a hard thing to do, is go up the middle coming off of turn 4. That's really not.
Why is that?
Well, because the cars are sliding so much, especially the guy on the top is saving. The car on the bottom is sliding, and then you go to stick your car in there in the middle, and usually that's exactly what happens. You get sandwiched.
And they have stopped the cars. I guess there's so much debris here that they don't want the cars driving through. They have stopped them as they come off turn 4, and I don't. It's good.
The red flag is out. They're going to stop the field, as Benny said.
Well, we had a wreck in the 150s when that happened, so maybe they thought we better stop him on the racetrack.
Good idea.
On board with Clint Boyer.
Paul Menard
Go low, go low, come on. There you go.
Menard came down the racetrack a little bit as well, so it's not completely Leffler's fault on that deal.
In front of you, right in front of you. Back it down, back it down, back it down. Clear all the way to the bottom if you need it. See what you got in front of you.
Thank goodness for bulletproof glass, right?
Here you go. Check with Allen.
They really move around the racetrack.
I think a lot of you fans have experienced going down the highway when you pull up behind the truck and all that turbulence comes off the truck.
34 cars around, up the wall, up the track to the wall. Paul Tracy. I was just talking about how well he was running.
But boy, that apron did some damage on the nose of that car.
You're right to pit road right now. We're going to change 4 tires. Pull the fenders out. We're going to change 4 tires. Doesn't look like we have a lot of damage.
There's Paul Tracy on the top. He just get tagged by John Andretti.
Biffle just missed it.
Just got tagged in the left rear quarter panel. Doesn't take much when you're in the corners here at Daytona. You look at the fender wrong, you go sideways.
And John just touches Tracy in the left rear. Denny, that 4 car, Mark Green drove down on the apron.
And we still don't see what happened to Stedman Marlin and Joe.
Well, I think, well, I don't know. My guess is that Stedman backed off and Joe ran into him.
Right. You've been here before, huh?
Somewhere back there.
Yeah, there is somebody hitting somebody back there. That's watching the back of the screen there. You see, is that Nemechek right there coming down the track?
He ran in the back of the 95 car up high. If you roll it back, I can show you where it all starts. All right, cars on pit road.
Marty, field getting the green. Restart. With 27 laps to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Todd Cleaver, McFarlane, Neuenberger, Sauter did not stop. They're the top 5 cars, but look at Jr. pull away.
Well, he has a nice buffer between himself and the fast cars, but you know, Cleaver and McFarlane.
Behind you.
Oh, we got trouble.
Hard hit. Casey Kane.
He gets it another time. Brian Ficker's 57 involved.
7th caution of the race.
Well, that was Vickers in the 57, but I don't know what caused that.
Probably have to back it up just a little bit. Let's see.
They got bottled up there. Tony Stewart.
Biffle.
Looks like Biffle got the back of 57, yes.
Casey Kane has reported on the radio he's okay. Got hit once and then twice.
That's the 35 car of Regan Smith.
Oh, man, he just got clipped, Casey Kane. Just barely. Just enough.
Now on board with Greg Biffle.
Wow, he jacked the back of that.
Check up, go to the bottom, go to the bottom.
Yeah, that's what happens when you pull the rear tires off the racetrack on the car in front of you. He usually loses traction.
On board the Hershey's Kissables ride.
Spin in front of you, go low. They're coming down. Go in the middle.
Go on the grass.
It's coming down there. Okay, keep going there. You got that 1 car to your outside.
Michael Waltrip.
All the way down. You clear all the way down. Clear up, clear up. in the middle.
And that was a nice job.
Go up, gas it, go. Good job.
All set. Today's race. Benny getting here early this morning, and the green flag took him.
Didn't take long. Lap 3. Kenny Schrader, left rear tire explodes off the corner. He spins around in front of a lot of cars, and luckily no one hit him.
Very lucky right there. Comes back across the track. Everybody got through cleanly. Lap 28, Mutil-Car's in him.
And Johnny Sauter blew a right front tire. That's what set this crash up.
Lap 39 in traffic. Jason Leffler contact. Paul Menard and Carl Edwards. And then Anthony Foyt. Right.
And Anthony thought he had the wreck missed. Not today.
Lap 50.
John Andretti just gets into the left rear quarter panel of Paul Tracy. Turns him sideways, just gets into the wall.
Tracy went back out, ended up in the wall a second.
And then Greg Biffle in 16 gets in the back of Brian Vickers, and he hooks the 9 car, does Vickers, head on in the wall. 6 or 7 cars involved in that crash.
Everybody was okay. Lap 107. Kyle Busch, after contact from Denny Hamlin, sends Jamie McMurray to the grass. Hamlin forced to restart at the end of the longest line for aggressive driving. And David Rudiman in the wall. 10 cautions today. Coming to get the white flag. Last lap at Daytona.
And Elliott Sadler's a 90 car. All of his problems, there he is, trying to win on the last lap.
Got the lucky dog 3 times today, I believe.
Nice spot that lap.
I can't believe they make it back start finish line like this.
Down the backstretch for the final time. Half a lap to go. Stewart leads. Lamar, the rookie, second.
There you go, come on.
Boyer inside of Lamar.
They're down there with you. Come on. Come on.
I don't think he's got enough time.
Mike Dillon trying to urge his driver to the line.
Uh-oh, here we go. Here we go.
Casey Compton into the wall. Michael Waltrip is around.
Denny Hamlin hard into Elliott Sadler.
Stewart takes the checkers. The caution obviously another hard hit. You were right, Benny. They didn't make it around.
Didn't see any way they could.
Cars in the grass. Cars finished on pit road. Field is frozen when the caution comes out.
Who gets in the back of the 59?
It looks like Elliott Sadler may have got the 59 a little bit loose there. Boy, I mean, Denny Hamlin just pounded Sadler.
Let's see again. Yeah, it looks like Elliott might have either that or maybe the 59 just lost control off the corner. Don't know.
Reed Sorensen in the 41.
David Green, Mark Green in 4 car goes through there, makes contact again.
Looks like Jason Keller got a piece of it too, right? Now, obviously, the concern is to make sure everybody's okay.
J.J. Yaley goes on the grass and drives right through all that trouble.
It happens that quick.
And that close to the finish.
On board with Kenny Wallace as he's involved.
Boy, Kenny just missed that wall.
Goes on forever, doesn't it? Kevin Harvick's car.
coming. Keep coming. All right, back it down. Back it down. Back it down. That was one hell of a job.
Elliott Sadler moments ago.
The Aaron's 312 on Fox is sponsored by State Farm. Great service, great rates. You can get it all from State Farm. By AOL. Want a better high-speed internet? You belong at AOL. By Prilosec OTC, a proud sponsor of NASCAR. And by Subway Restaurants. Subway. Drive hard, eat fresh.
33 lead lap cars as Paul Tracy just made a stop, went a lap down. Crash. Car upside down. Start-finish line.
Stewart,
It is Stewart.
33. Daniel Quinn in the 50 got into him.
I don't see anyone else, but Stewart has taken a wild ride.
Let's see
Watch
if we can
33.
determine what happened. The 8 car, Tony had just helped the 8 car get to the lead going down the back. The 8 car drove to the inside, and I think Tony thinks there's a hole right there that he's trying to get down in, and there's just not, he just doesn't quite have enough room to get in front of Kenny Wallace. And look at that race car. They just become like feathers blowing in the wind. Now, this is a hard lick right here. Fortunately, it's just, it's more in the left front than it is anywhere else.
And it was the right side of Stewart's car that took the brunt of the impact as it went over.
See, he's trying to get down in that hole right there. Not much room. I know Kenny Wallace is doing everything he can probably to give Tony all the room he can, but there's just not enough room there. You see the roof flaps deploy. Car goes upside down and hits hard on the left side.
Yeah, the roof flaps deployed. They did their job, but the air just got out from underneath the back of the car, and the car came around.
There's Tony. He is okay, as is legal, right against the yellow line.
Yeah, well, Kenny Wallace is sitting there saying, oh, please, Tony, don't come down anymore. Don't come down anymore. You hear him get out of the throttle.
Now keep it going. Keep it going.
He pretty much did everything he could do.
Yeah, Tony was just trying to get in a hole that really wasn't big enough.
Wow.
Watch out. Now go left. Go left. Caution's out.
How'd you like to be a young driver like Bernie Lamar and have that happen right in front of you?
And that was his teammate, Tony Stewart.
Wrecking behind you. Hand up, hand up, hand up, hand up.
Hand up, signal you're slowing down.
See, it's just right there. Just not quite enough room. And again, as I've said over and over, the car is so light in that part of the racetrack.
From our DLP cable cam. "68 laps complete. Tony Stewart on his roof, but okay, after this wild ride in the Old Spice Chevy."
Quickly now with just 5 laps to go under caution. The first 10 laps of this race had 4 different leaders. Tony Stewart taking the lead from the 17th spot. This was the first caution. Derek Cope in the green, the 49 car. Regan Smith in the 35, the red car. And Donnie Neuenberger in the white vehicle. Involved all of this at over 180 miles per hour. All the drivers were okay. That was just a sampling of what was to come. In the meantime, a lot of muck drafting for position.
Yes, it's what you always want to see here at Talladega. See the 33 car of Tony Stewart giving Carl Edmonds in the 60 a little bit of a love push, basically down the triangle. And again, here's some teammates. Brian Vickers gives Kyle Busch a good shot down the back straightaway, pushes him out in front.
Tony Stewart had led 25 laps, jockeying for position here. A nudge for Kenny Wallace, going 185, 190. That's, what, 3,400 pounds through the air. Tony upside down, bumped by rookie Danny O'Quinn. Stewart said, hey, it was a wild ride. I was okay, and took responsibility, said it was all his fault.
Definitely his fault right there. You see Tony getting out of the car, waving at the crowd. Again, NASCAR safety rules and regulations kind of coming through one more time.
28 different lead changes.
Yeah, and Yaley just couldn't get there in time to clear the lapped car. Matt, trouble. Turn 4, 3 cars sideways.
Oh, here we go.
Bunches and bunches. Here comes another one. The 2 cars all the way through the grass.
Reed Sorensen in it hard, along with Paul Tracy, the IndyCar star, and Clint Boyer are the 3 cars that spun. Johnny Sauter has damage to the nose of his 00, and we're under caution for the 2nd time tonight. Darrell, what happened here mid-pack?
Let's see if we can look back here and see who got into who. Somebody probably slid up the hill a little bit. Sorensen is sticking his nose in there between those 2 cars of Paul Tracy and whoever that was on the outside there, Kevin LePage. No place to go, and they made contact. And from there, the wreck is on.
Johnny Sauter, the 00, getting some damage coming down pit road.
And O'Quinn was put into the wall by the car behind him as they slowed to avoid it. Watch the 41.
41 just trying to go where there's no way he could go there. There's not enough room. And when Paul Tracy needed a little room to come up, the 41 was in the hole.
Paul Menard, the 11 car, down through the grass.
Now, in the defense of Sorensen, he's got people on his back bumper. And so if he's got a hole there and he eases out of the throttle to give those guys some room, then he's going to get run over.
Let's ride with Clint Boyer.
This ought to be sighting.
Yikes.
All the drivers out of their cars and okay.
Mark McFarland is still the driver for that car, but he was injured in that late race crash last week at Milwaukee. Martin Truex Jr. driving, filling in for Mark McFarland. Started 25th. He's making his way to the front.
I think you'll see everybody, be able to hang with Dale Jr. for a little while. Fresh tires, they can hold their cars wide open for a little while, but it's after about 10, 15 laps when Dale Jr. will start to stretch it. John Andretti there in 2nd place. Oh, there's a car.
Michael Waltrip. That was Michael Waltrip.
Oh, my gosh.
Menard's into him. He comes down the banking and collects Jay Sauter.
Carl just flat ran over and getting in the corner. He wasn't even under him. He just shoved him right to you.
Talking about Carl Edwards. That was the contact that put us under caution for the 3rd time tonight. Very close to the front of the field. Watch the 60 of Edwards and the 99.
He just gave him a bump in the wrong place. That's what they've been complaining about here. You can't bump in the corners and you can't bump going into the corners.
Stephen Light in the 90 car, who was trying to get his lap back, he was heavily involved.
And at the very end, Waltrip slid down the track and collected Jay Sauter in the 01.
Just get right here, right about the time you're getting ready to turn off into the corner, that little casual contact just sends, you're loose in anyway, and now you get a little bump and it just sends the car around.
Boy, it wasn't much of a bump, but it didn't take much.
Boy, look at that 90 car. That thing went airborne.
Yaley squeaks by in the grass, and Regan Smith shoots the gap and makes it through.
And Tony Stewart goes by in the grass on the apron.
There it is.
Just one too many.
Nice job by our folks at Broadcast Sports, getting the onboard views from Michael Waltrip.
Where Denny Hamlin almost made it by, but nowhere for Paul Menard or Stephen Light in the 90 car, and just nowhere for him to go.
Steve Burns.
Mike, and we heard Michael Waltrip after that wreck. He said, my car was slow, but I didn't deserve to get wrecked. He just spun me out.
Well, he was.
Back at Daytona, we are under caution here for the 2nd time today in lap 16. A major melee off of turn 4. And there are the remains of the Casey Kane car. And there's the 10 car involved. Also John Andretti, the Camping World Toyota. one of the quicker cars in the field today. And let's see if we can show you what happened. Again, it was an incidence of a car getting in the middle. Rusty?
Yeah, the 41 car, Casey Kane, got in there. You see, loses his downforce. Guys, you just don't want to be in the middle. We talked earlier about you get 15 to 20 laps in this race. These cars are starting to really handle bad. All you Cup guys sitting in your buses, listen right now, listen up. These cars, the handling's going away about this time. You saw the 41 car of Mears get right there and lose it. We saw the same thing happen in an earlier wreck with the 10 car of John Andretti. These things really start wiggling around, and I was concerned about this, Jerry.
Here's Reed Sorensen. Watch his car in the middle here. The back starts to turn. He turns the steering wheel, Rusty, but I guess it's all over then.
Well, when you come off the corner, Jerry, you can't let that car run out up towards the racetrack. You're kind of compacted down to the middle. It causes your car, if you do have a loose car, just to get looser. And so that's the biggest problem that happened here. A lot of carnage right now. The guys in the back, look at all that smoke as a driver. Man, how do you get through that? These guys are just on the brakes, off the brakes, talking to their spotters. This is one of the toughest things for a driver. Look at all that smoke.
Yeah,
this is what we were talking about earlier. These Cup guys are in this race, and they got a different aero package to adjust to. That's Reed Sorensen. He's been driving a Cup car, drove one this morning in practice, and I think that they're just getting, they just have a different feel with these Busch cars that they're not quite used to.
All right, here the cars come off turn 4. That's the miles per hour for Reed Sorensen. You see suddenly the car just goes sideways, and watch the speed just drop off. Ward Burton involved in the 27 car. Bobby Hamilton Jr. got nut. Onboard camera shot. We're taking right along with David Rudeman.
3 wide, got one in the middle. 3 wide, still 3 wide. Don't spin it, go bottom, go low, go low, go low. Come on, come on. All the way down pit lane. All right, start backing it down, start backing it down. Job, back your speed down as you go down through there.
All right, how about riding along with Sam Hornish, who was up in the middle of the racetrack when this all broke loose?
Speed in front of you. Just keep coming straight. You couldn't do nothing about it. You're right in the middle of it.
That was the Jason Leffler car right in front of him that peeled away. And I guess, Rusty, if you're Sam Hornish in those situations, you pretty much are helpless.
Jerry, that was one of the great
season so far for Jason Leffler.
All right, Jamie. Whoa, contact, and Ward Burton is tapped. His car gets sideways. There's Rudeman's car sliding broadside into turn 1. Other cars up against the wall, against the concrete.
Keep it up straight. You're okay. Okay, just lock her down. Lock her down. All right. We didn't hit nothing, guys. Keep rolling. When you get a chance, keep rolling. Pace car's just off at 2 there.
And Ward Burton's car was running second, got a tap from the high side. He tried to avoid the car coming down. He got sideways. Here's Martin Truex. There's a 29 of Scott Wimmer. And the 27 of Ward Burton.
Just a light tap there, but these cars they have so little downforce on this kind of racetrack, and they're kind of they're making a pretty good turn right through the tri-oval too, and once they make contact.
Yeah, you don't realize just how much, in looking at this racetrack, how much steering you have in the car through the tri-oval, and it doesn't take much. And it looked like Ward, there's a seam right there in the racetrack where, after this was repaved, when you're right down against the yellow line and you get to that first white line, there's a seam right there, and actually your car will get in that, and it'll actually move one way or the other. And it looks like maybe Ward's right front got in there and went up the racetrack just a little bit. I'm just guessing that happened because I've had it happen in my car before.
Here's Martin Truex on board camera. He goes up and he boom!
Hit the wall, guys.
Oh, he hit the wall pretty hard, DJ.
Yeah, we didn't see that as we were talking about the 29. Yeah, this looks like it's going to put an end to that streak.
Martin Truex, who had won 3 in a row, and now damage at the right side of that car after pancaking the wall. Here's Mike Wallace on board with the Geico Chevy.
Backer. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Blue, that's it, go. You're clear.
So Mike Wallace uses his spotter and does a great job of getting low and avoiding the accident at Talladega. Well, lap number 9, it breaks loose on the front straightaway. A tap between Boyer and Burton, and suddenly we've got a dozen cars spinning back with the green in a moment.
This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot.
Passion for racing and give him a ringside seat at Talladega. Watch Brad Doherty. Watch this accident here.
Brad looks like he's studying for a test.
Now you think he's pumped up now? Brad Doherty.
Oh, yeah.
7.
Anywhere, you never know when it's going to happen. It's like walking through a jungle and trying not to get snake bit. You can be at the back of the pack or be running second and still getting a wreck at any time. Once one of these big pileups start to happen, you're just along for the ride. Hopefully, you're just in front of the wreck, and if not, close your eyes and hope you make it through.
You can't really do anything about it. You just go out there and race and see what happens.
If you avoid it, it's just pure luck, if you're a lucky day. It'll be exciting to watch. I don't know if it's going to be a whole lot of fun to be a part of.
Well, let's get up to date on what did he do? He implemented a specialized team completely dedicated to restrictor plate racing. Less than a dozen people. Oh, and we've got trouble on the track, and it's Kyle Busch upside down.
Big time crash. Kyle Busch goes upside down and rolls down across on his roof here on lap 26. Cars comes back over, and now side over side barrel rolls. And comes to rest on its wheels. A horrific crash here at Talladega on lap 26 involving Kyle Busch, and thankfully the window net is down. There the safety crews on the scene immediately, and Kyle Busch is climbing out of that car. Wow, listen to this crowd.
Well, that's a true testament to the safety of these race cars. See him just jump out of that car like that. That was what would look like a very violent wreck, but man, he just jumped right out of there. It's a real testament to the safety features that these cars have.
Yeah.
Well, I'll show you again here. That doesn't take much here. Now, Kyle Busch, left side of your screen in the 5 car.
Now, he moved to the outside to go around Casey Mears. It looked like Tony was going to go out there to help him, and could have possibly been a little bit of contact. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be, because you can get yourself out there, and all of a sudden the air's changing, and just a horrific wreck. But once again, Kyle Busch gets out and walks away.
We sure did a lot of damage. It looked to me like right here, as we watch this, it looked like that maybe they all started stacking up. It's hard to say that Tony Stewart wasn't getting some help from behind, or maybe even further back than right behind him. Like they were all just kind of stacking up.
Yeah. Yeah, when that happens, usually because everything changes, the air changes, and what you've been doing right there, you might have been wide open at that time, and then all of a sudden things change. And so, you can't put any blame on anybody, I don't think, here. Although I think we do see a little contact between the 33 and the 5. But when he pulls out there, that car is automatically going to start coming back a little bit, because he's come out against a brick wall of wind right there. Even though he's got to run, that car automatically slows down when he pulls out there until he starts getting that help.
So if you're Tony Stewart and you're trying to get out of the gas and you're getting hit from behind, have you ever had that happen where you get hit from behind and you can't actually slow your car down and try to avoid that wreck?
Somewhat reminiscent of the Brian Vickers, Jimmy Johnson contact in the Cup race last fall. Inconsequential, wasn't intended to happen. One car makes a move, another one just gets a slight tap, and off they go. On board here with David Rudiman.
Go 3 wide. Bracket, back it down, stay high, good job.
Hey, you can see the tire flying through the air. David Rudiman just went under the tire. It looked like he just ripped it right off the wheel.
Yeah, however, his best bet probably would be to dive down in there, but he's lost that now as Ward Burton takes that spot away from him.
And they can't seem to get organized in that outside lane like they were earlier.
Whoa, contact. Stephen Wallace gets sideways. He is tapped from behind. And this is the one no one wanted, the big one late, and Stephen Light has nowhere to go head on into the 41 car. There's the 90 car of Stephen Light, who's having such a great run, as the 41 car of Reed Sorensen got spun around. And looks like the 66 car of Stephen Wallace might have gotten a little tap. His car abruptly turned.
A lot of good race cars torn up in this wreck.
From the Goodyear blimp, watch the 66 car.
Look in. He's up against the car right in front of him, who was Casey Kane, but he's still getting that push from behind because Reed Sorensen can't see that he's totally against that car. And that's where, it just gets down to the end of this race, and we start, I say we do it in the Cup race too, you start running into each other and trying to help them get to the front as fast as you can.
Yeah, we heard Greg Biffle talking about it, that if you can't see through these race cars, so you can't tell what the guy in front of you is dealing with, and they just start stacking up. Can't really put the blame on one person here. It's just all kind of shared back through there.
Yeah, I'm sure Stephen, he's probably got a foot on the brake because he's right against the 9 car, but he's getting hit hard from behind, and then it just shoots him right out of the pack. We've been fortunate all day that we haven't really had
very many cars involved in these accidents at a time, but we got down to the end when it was time to try to win, and people like Stephen Light, unfortunately, that weren't even a part of the beginning of this get involved.
Well, at least a half a dozen cars damaged in this big one here with less than 10 laps to go. As you're right on board with Stephen Light in his City Financial Ford, let's watch what he saw just a moment ago off of turn 2.
This is why I'm hot. 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 I'm hot.
View of the entire incident. As you look down, he'll get out of control, and you can watch as the demolition derby unfolds. But note the 10 cars that escaped the damage. Watch as the cars get out of the way. Juan Pablo slips through. And we have got 10 cars that are going to be in a dogfight coming down to the end. And our top 5, Casey Mears. Can he hang on now? The race has
Toyota again on the inside. Whoa, trouble, the 99 car. David Rudiman has had contact, heavy damage on the front of his Camry as three cars spinning off of turn 4 here in the short shoot. But you see the 66 car on the right of your screen slowing down.
Yeah, we see a little bit of a wiggle. Then he chases it and just loses it. Looks like the tire did go down. Oh, and that 99 car, David Rudiman, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. We got some big evasive moves coming here.
Yeah, Mike Bliss, the 22 car moves, slides to avoid it. Stephen Wallace trying to hang on, Rusty.
He's trying to hang on right now, Jerry, but we're watching the cars that came down pit road a little while ago, and it looks like the car's not hurt. Well, it caved in pretty good behind the left front tire. The right side's not hurt. That might be able to get that car back out there.
On board with David Rudiman.
A lot worse from that angle for sure. That was a pretty hard lick.
And leaders
contention for the race is over.
Kevin Harvick now being shown 1 lap back in 34th position. Trouble on the racetrack here. Lap 54. Pretty hard lick, a couple of cars.
Caution's out, caution's out. Back them down, wave them off.
14 of David Gilliland and the 70 of Mark Green involved, in both cars very heavily damaged.
Well, that was a shocker to see that wreck right there. I about jumped out of my seat. Those cars hit hard right there. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's Mark Green.
In early. Show you again, see if we can see the 16 car get involved.
See that 14 got a little bit loose and clips Biffle. And then he hits Mark Green. Man, Mark Green didn't see that coming.
No, yeah, they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's all that is, and it's unfortunate for that team and for Mark. It looked like the 14 just got loose up there. Maybe over-adjusted if his car happened to be tight earlier, and just over-adjust a little bit. And you know, it's just hard. You work hard to try to catch it, but at the speeds that you're going, it's just very difficult.
But the good news is both window nets came down and both drivers climbing out.
Yeah, he got a little bit of a push and got a little bit of a run, and he was able to clear the car there, so he got himself in position.
Whoa, Stephen Wallace off sideways in the corner, gets tagged by Casey Kane, Johnny Sauter, and Kevin Harvick are involved.
And we've got a lot more going on behind them, too. Yeah, this is just one of those chain reaction.
Kirk Shelmerdine, the 28 car, looks to not have any significant damage. He comes down.
I think Jason Keller might have quite a bit of damage in his car.
There's the 11 car of Keller. Heavy damage on both the front and rear. 66 car, Stephen Wallace. If we can show you what happened. Left side of your screen.
Looks like it was the 88 car of Brad Keselowski. Got loose, slid up into Stephen. Nothing Stephen Wallace could do right there. He kept his car clean all week. He'd done a great job, and then just taken out.
Now from Kevin Harvick's on board.
Right. Right in front of you.
Like
go high, go high.
Rusty Wallace saying the intensity level is coming up on these guys at the end of the race.
Yeah, a situation like that earlier in the race, you might have backed out of the throttle, but you're just not in a position to do that now, and that's unfortunate, especially for Stephen, who had done a good job all day.
Half a dozen cars involved. Stephen Wallace, Casey Kane, Harvick, Johnny Sauter, Jason Keller, Kirk Shelmerdine. And there was the contact, the 88 into the 66.
Looks like Stephen may get out of this without a lot of damage.
NASCAR returns to the biggest, baddest super speedway around, where last year Kyle Busch experienced a different kind of role. At 22, he tries to become only the second driver to win 4 in a row. Standing in his way, Tony Stewart, who last year lost by the slimmest margin of the season.
If anybody had to go by me, I sure as hell would rather be you. Thank you, bud.
It took 10 months, and Tony and his new Toyota had redemption.
Tony Stewart will win the season opener at Daytona.
6 wins under his belt. No one is more intimidating here than Dale Earnhardt Jr. Can he find victory lane in his own ride? And everyone is on the lookout for the big one.
You think you're going to escape the big one, but you seldom do.
Bumper to bumper at 190 miles per hour. Buckle up. This is Talladega.
And we welcome you. Taken advantage of this weekend, and they think by the end of this race, they'll have a pretty good spot in this group.
Trouble on the racetrack. The 40 of Dario Franchitti has had contact debris off of one car.
Are you all clear? You okay?
Looked like we saw a tire explode right in the middle of this pack and maybe cause this big wreck. I don't know if that comes from just incidental contact, but you definitely saw some tire debris flying.
So you said you thought you saw a tire explode there, and that could very well be from a tire rub.
We're watching this from high above, trying to figure out exactly what happened. And you can see Dario Franchitti looks like he loses a tire, getting into the corner, and triggers this wreck.
Now watch his car come around right down in front of traffic. Some cars really had nowhere to go. There's the 91 coming along. That is Larry Gunzelman. Hard impact in the left side, again looking down the backstretch.
Yeah, right there you can see that tire completely exploding. And I would imagine that happened from some kind of a contact, maybe into the left rear, knocked the valve stem out, or maybe cut the sidewall of the tire. Oh, man, that's a hard lick right there.
Yeah, and they're sailing down the backstretch at over 185 miles an hour. Dario Franchitti comes down, and DJ, how tough is it to control a car like the 91 car at these speeds when you got like the left side tires on the grass?
Yeah, you've got a lot of smoke, and you're just, you're going, your spotter tells you to go low because the
For Carl, go to their spotters up there, okay? I'll go to their crew chief right next to me.
Just follow in a row. That's all we're going to finish here.
That's Mike Wallace in the 7 car, Stephen Wallace in the 66, and David Stremme in another car owned by Rusty. Oh, we got a spin. It's a tap from Wallace.
Right behind you.
Oh, the big one in turn 1, heavy contact, cars in the wall. Stephen Wallace heavily damaged. There comes Kyle Krisiloff down. David Rudiman involved. Oh, heavy damage on Stephen Wallace's Chevy. He was having such a great run. And Kyle Busch has damage on the right front of his Toyota.
Kyle Busch continues to have problems finishing this race. He tried a different strategy, but he's still caught up in this wreck.
He's checking off pit road first, probably.
See the intensity level coming up on these guys.
We saw Mike Wallace look like he was going below David Rudiman right here, but they ran up on a slower car. Wow.
Right. Man.
That's Kevin LePage's 61 that Carl Edwards went up across the back of. And then it all broke loose behind him. Car slipping and sliding. Kelly Byers involved. Brad Keselowski, watch again.
Oh, you see what happened here. This 61 was not up to speed, and it's almost like these guys moved over and didn't see him.
Had no idea that he was coming out. They did. I'm sure that the spotters up there saw him on the apron. They weren't expecting him to come and join back right in front of the leaders. That's just a very unfortunate situation and a mistake on Kevin's part and his spotter. Quite honestly, somebody's got to be telling him, and he has to know that these leaders are coming because he just messed up a lot of cars and drivers' chances.
That's the reason that NASCAR has the rule that you have to keep all 4 tires below that yellow line before you get to turn 1. We saw Clint Boyer get penalized for running his car up on the racetrack, and that's the reason, because you can cause a wreck. That was a bad wreck right there, caused by a big mistake.
Carl Edwards, thankfully, with that hard impact about the big one at Talladega. On
that low,
board
leave room for 2 there. Stay high, go high, go high. Go high. Yep.
Now David Rudemann's onboard camera will show you what David saw. There's Mike Wallace.
All right, hold it up there, hold it up there, hold up there, hold up there. Lap car just wrecked the whole field, Jerry.
Kyle Busch thought he could hang back and avoid trouble, but it was not to be. He was involved as well.
These guys at this point are going through the tri-oval and just racing as they normally would.
If you see that 88,
Not
59
expecting
one back.
anything.
Slow one down low, slow one down low. Watch this, watch this.
It's a huge mistake on Kevin LePage's part to pull up front of this group.
Good.
.33 car, Cale Gale driving for Kevin Delana Harvey.
Back it down, 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 come on down, come on down.
Kid from Mobile, Alabama, coming home to drive on his home racetrack in a nationwide car for the first time. He was involved. Again, the 61 car. Now, what's Carl Edwards? Looking up across a racetrack from turn 1, there comes a Reed Sorensen just sliding right over the camera. Right into your living room as these cars sliding on the inside. 2, 3, 4, 5 cars now sliding.
Literally, you could be right in the middle of the whole thing and be fine, or you could be nowhere near the wreck and somehow you get caught up in it. It's so intense, and you can't do anything about it.
Oh, trouble. The 2-car upside down, over and onto Scott Riggs.
When you start crashing, then you realize how fast you're going, because it takes forever to stop.
The whole pack's coming off 4, but they've got, talking about a piece of debris, they're all going to blow by you, so just stay low. Watch the blend line, watch the blend line. And here comes the pack. Oh.
Voice of Kevin LePage's spotter on his radio as he came off the pit lane. Kevin has come from the infield care center now. Let's hear from him with Mike Massaro.
And Alan, you can see the disappointment on the face of Kevin LePage as he assesses the damage on his car. Kevin, what happened?
Well, it all started when we had a loose wheel and I came down pit road, and as I was leaving pit road, the spotter says pack's coming, so I stayed down until I got in turn 1 and got up on the racetrack, and the first half a dozen cars or so passed me, and next thing you know, I got rear-ended. So you know, everybody's mad at me for pulling up on the racetrack, but you go to the driver's meeting, they said stay low till you get in turn 1, pull up on the racetrack, and like I said, the first half a dozen cars got by me without any problem. So you know, my spotter's been spotting for me for a number of years, and I think she did a great job. And you know, I was down low, had my, matter of fact, left side's lower than the apron, and you know, there's 40 other guys up there trying to spot these things, and they couldn't see me coming out of the pits with this red and yellow race car. Then maybe they need to get new spotters.
Well, guys, obviously a very disappointed driver there.
So thoughts of Kevin LePage there on his involvement in that accident.
Small pack of cars there in comparison. Oh, got trouble.
20 just pushed him.
That is Clint Boyer in the 29 car and the 99 of Michael Waltrip. Two of the cars running in the top 10.
The 20 just crashed him. I mean, he just bump draft him into off too, I think.
20 just spun the 99 right across their nose.
So first yellow. Behind him, really hard to get that lucky dog in case the caution comes out. And right here, he gets a big push off that 20 at the wrong place.
That's exactly what we've been talking about. You talk about this bump drafting, you hear about it, and that's just not the place to do it. You know, you're almost to the straightaway, but you still, the driver in front there still has the steering wheel turned a little bit, and it just pushed him right around right in front of Clint Boyer in the 29.
Yeah, Michael was running in 4th position, and let's watch the tap.
Oh.
that's the patience that we're talking about. You just have to show it all the time.
Just pushed him.
It's nothing intentional on Joey Logano's part, but
No,
it
not
was
at all.
definitely a mistake.
Yes.
Right across the nose, the 29, and Clint Boyer had nowhere to go. Then Michael, fortunately, that safer barriers on the inside, although he hit a ton. Let's listen to Clint Boyer's radio.
Imagine that. Still got his hand out the window. What? What happened? What happened? Every damn time. Same guy. How? How'd I wreck? What happened?
I think a year ago, Morgan Shepherd led this race. He has led it today. He finished 13th. He said it was that win.
Out of control goes Kenseth.
Over on his roof.
Get back on the wheels.
A wild ride for the Daytona 500 winner, Matt Kenseth.
You see Matt moving in there. You can see him trying to get the window net down. There he comes out.
He's coming out. That's good to see. That was Katie Kenseth, his wife there.
Right here behind Ryan Newman. See what happens. He goes to block.
Comes back in line. It looks like he may get a tap. Yeah, he gets a tap from David Reagan.
Yep.
Car gets out of shape and then just pirouettes on its left side and goes over.
And we talk about the bump drafting has to be done on the straightaway, and you can see even on the straightaway, if you get hit too hard, it just takes the steering wheel out of your hands as a driver.
This was the scary part right here when he's on his roof for so long. Looked for a minute like he might save it, but then got down there. Golly, this is tough.
Yeah, and Matt really did a great job. If he goes up in front, he takes out 15 or 18 cars, so he did a great job of not creating that situation.
Let's see what Dale Earnhardt Jr. saw here as the contact took place right in front of him.
So everybody jockeying for position here. Oh, Matt gets a shove.
Three wide. Three
damage
wide
actually on the left rear of the 18.
Wreck it down low. You're clear right there. Clear all around. They wreck behind you.
John West Townley going by. You see, he sees Kenseth's car just rolling over side by side.
And you could see in that last shot from Dale Jr.'s that it literally lifted the back of the car off the ground whenever David Reagan.
Yeah, you see the back end come off the ground on the 16. There's just no way to control that. It's a strange way to see one flip. You don't normally see them do that.
No, but these cars have a liftoff point of getting off the ground of about 170 miles an hour. And no matter, even with all these safety innovations that NASCAR has put into these cars, these cars get in that right situation or wrong
They have
situation.
to get in the perfect spot, yeah.
Second time in 3 years we've seen a car go on its roof here. 2 years ago it was Kyle Busch who had a violent rollover down the back straightaway, and now this year it is another.
Go, and we'll go, and then we'll settle it between the two of us.
Okay, here we go. He's got one more shot right here.
Tony Raines is still right there. Here comes David Reagan, Brad Keselowski.
Off of turn 2, 4,000 foot back straightaway. Here they go, 3 wide. Keselowski, his teammate, is up there. Is he going to get up there and push Earnhardt Jr. by?
That's what Junior needed, was somebody he could really count on, but Brad can't get there quick enough. I think Junior's just waiting until he gets to the tri-oval here to try to make that move.
Turn 3. Remember, the start-finish line is all the way down in turn 1, so if you make the pass, you don't want to make it too early.
Here we go. We got to see Junior go here. Here comes Tony Raines to the inside.
Junior up high. David Reagan is there. And here comes David Reagan.
How about Joey Logano coming in third?
David Reagan gets the win at Talladega. Wow.
Unbelievable.
A multi-car crash on the back straightaway. There's the 81 car, also involving the 5 of Dale Earnhardt Jr., who was coming through the pack. Stephen Wallace, the 66 car, also involved. He spun around, has damage on the front of his car. They had just come off turn 2, and there was contact, and cars started scattering both up and down the racetrack.
And that's the kind of things that can happen when you have problems on pit road. Whenever Dale Jr. started to leave his pit, car was coming in front of him. There was contact. He had to come back. He put him in the back of the pack. Before we went to commercial, saw Dale Jr. kind of back out of it. I thought he saw some things that he really wasn't liking. He was just going to kind of take it easy till things got strung out a little bit. But unfortunately, he got caught up in this accident.
Yeah, Shelter gets the worst of that. You see him up against the wall getting out of the car. Good to see him getting out there.
He had that hard impact here in February in the ARCA car. Spent 3 nights in the hospital.
The 66 might not have been happy with the 81, but I'm not sure. He gets tapped.
He gets a tap from Chase Austin and puts him head on in the wall. Leaves these other guys just trying to scramble out of this.
Junior was going to miss, but Stephen Wallace was trying to miss everything and got into the side of Junior.
Look at Kenny Wallace all the way down on the grass to be able to miss the spinning car of Stephen.
Look at him wheeling that thing in the grass.
Yeah, that's... See, there's a come off of turn 2 here.
I mean, these cars are a handful, and turn 2 is the tightest, hardest corner. That's a pretty good lick there for Sheltra.
Yeah, Junior took a hard lick from the 66.
Look at Bliss, Mike Bliss getting through right in front of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s spinning car.
How many times have we seen Mike Bliss avoid wrecks this weekend?
Well, watch how close it was for him here.
This is all happening right in front of him.
All new.
Yeah, that corner is just so tight. If one car checks up.
Bottom, you dig. Come on, come on, come on.
You can see his eyes looking over there.
Hold the brake, hold the brake.
Yeah, he knew he was in trouble.
Well, he's looking back and forth.
That might hit you there.
Out both windows, trying to see if there's cars coming toward him or someone sliding at him.
Just pure instinct on Kevin Harvick's part to drive that car through there. It's 2 abreast through turn 2. Everybody, oh, we got crash up in the corner. The 99 of Trevor Bayne. A couple of other cars are spinning in this.
Brian Keselowski.
The 26, you're right, Keselowski in it as well, but boy, Bayne got the worst of this one.
Oh, man, his car is destroyed.
We'll have to see the replay, but I think I saw Danica Patrick make a great move to avoid being a part of that. Well, maybe we ought to get that onboard shot. Oh, and the 40 car, Mike Bliss.
Just staying out of trouble. Looks like he got some help from Mike Bliss right here.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how much talent you have. You get the rear wheels lifted off the ground, and nobody can drive. You see Danica go right by there.
Like Stewart may have snuck through there as well.
Several other cars sneaking through on the bottom there. Take a look. Yep, you're right. He did get help.
Man, that's a hard lick, too. See, Danica gets into the back of a car right there. Can't see the number.
Oh, nice job. I mean, you see a lot of these other guys, you could see the tires, smoke from them, locking up the wheels.
Speaking of smoke, look at him drive right through here in the 4 car.
Really a good job. I know this racetrack looks wide, but I promise you folks that whenever something happens like that, you run out of racing room in a hurry. That was a good job by a lot of people coming through there and not making this bigger than what it could have been.
That's still a tough break for Trevor Bayne. He had such a good car.
All right, let's listen on the radio. The fun is still more to come. Multiple car crash, including Danica Patrick, among many others, here on the front straightaway. Brian Scott, the 21 of John West Townley. Colin Brown, the 31, is also in this mix of Stanton Barrett. That's what's left of the right front corner of Danica's car.
Yeah, this all developed in front of her. This crash did. She did a good job of avoiding most of it, but then just couldn't avoid all the cars in it.
Also in it is the 61 of Josh Wise, the 48 of Johnny Sauter. This is going to be a long one.
Wheels to the left, go again.
Portion of your screen.
You can see just a little bit of misjudgment there.
Yeah, that was
61
a lap car.
got turned.
Josh Wise was a lap car, and
she had nowhere to go.
Yeah, she just, I mean, gets by that car right there, but there's just nothing. I know it looks like room, but you're traveling at a high rate of speed, and she almost made it.
Take a look from another angle. A little lower this time.
See, all of this develop right there, and as these cars start sliding, more cars get involved. You just hope that a hole opens up for you.
10 of Leffler, boy, they had high hopes for this season. it's not going to start off the way they had wanted.
He had 2 of Roush's cars involved in that. Stenhouse and Colin Brown both involved.
There you go.
Okay, let's go on board and listen.
Doing a nice job. Still clear by 3 from behind. Being in front of you. Back it down. He's up here against the wall. Up here against the wall. He's against the wall, against the wall, against the wall.
I thought she did a good job, but just know where to go. I mean,
yeah,
not
just
so much
that's all that you can do. It's just hope, and you know, you can't, there's very little visibility that you have there. Again, even though you're slowing down, see right here, just didn't have quite enough room. She could see the cars on the left and knew she couldn't go there, so she just had to try to hold it and hope that that hole cleared out.
Well, Roush Fenway loses 2 cars in this deal, both Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and the 16 of Colin Brown. Not sure it's where Brendan wants to be by any stretch, but doesn't have much choice. Now he's trying to tuck in behind Kyle.
Now we see the momentum coming from that outside lane.
Once again, just on the inside of Brendan.
Oh, look out!
Trouble.
Oh, and upside down is Earnhardt. This is going to be a mess.
Big spin behind us, wave him.
The 33 of Harvick, Joey Logano involved. More cars still spinning in this multiple car crash. Just that quick. Window net is down. Oh man, that car is just destroyed. This car just a few moments ago.
Junk now.
All right, let's go back, see how this all started. There's Dale right at the right side of your screen.
Oh, there's contact behind him between Carl Edwards
and Carl Edwards got up into
Keselowski. And boy, it just flipped Dale over. And then there's nowhere for these guys to go. That's Kyle Busch. That's the damage he sustained. There's Brendan gone.
You got to wonder why Carl Edwards would make a move like that on the straightaway. He kind of made an abrupt move up to the outside lane there. I don't know if he thought he was clear.
Yeah, sometimes you're moving over just to get against that car to try to slow that car down, that momentum, to where you can get your line moving a little bit quicker. And maybe he just misjudged that. It has happened before, but that's what these guys are trying to do, is just side draft and slow that car beside them down to where their line will move quicker.
Greg Biffle also involved. Let's go on board. This is the view from Junior.
That's where he just got turned. When you get hit in the right rear, there's nothing you can do. And, of course, the air automatically gets underneath that car right then. Let's see here. See Carl moving over. Yeah, I think his intentions were just to get over there, but he could see that outside line moving a little bit just to slow them down. And I don't know if Brad came down just a little. Nothing that Brad was doing wrong, but it only takes just a split second of both of these drivers moving in the same direction, and that creates the contact.
So the work continues. Let's go on board and just listen.
Right corner, spin behind you, damn it. Turned it. All right, we ain't hit nothing yet. Gather up.
It's from high above.
Yeah, Carl may have actually been trying to get in the outside lane there.
It looked like he thought he might have a hole.
Misjudged.
And was trying to get in that hole before it closed up, but he misjudged the front of his car.
You know, we've seen that a number of times down here this week in both the Cup Series and now in this series, to where guys are misjudging just a little bit. And it only takes a little bit.
Here it is in real time.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I think it's just a product of this restrictor plate racing. The cars are all bunched up. And just misjudging by a few inches can create a situation just like this.
If you were with us for Countdown, there was a really strong interview by Marty Smith with Dale Earnhardt Jr. And there.
See somebody's hand out the window. Looked like Mike Wallace waving at James Busher behind him. Oh, we got trouble.
No, look out. Carl Edwards turns, and we've got multi-cars into the wall. Leffler's involved in this. The 62 have gone. The 21 of Boyer.
I'm just ready to say something.
The
I'm just ready to say something, yo.
Patrick Sheltra involved. The 16 of Colin Brown, the one thing he did not need because he's out of this seat. And we've got a car on fire down in the corner of turn 1, and it is Mike Wallace. He had a great beginning to this race. There's the damage to Stephen Wallace. There's what's left of the 60 of Carl Edwards.
Saw one car go spinning down and actually hit the inside wall and then kept going all the way to turn 1 like the throttle was on.
That was Michael Annette also in the 15.
This is where you don't bump draft right here, and you can see Carl Edwards got hit in the rear right there.
Oh my goodness, he got hit by a lot of cars here. See, it turns into a huge crash.
That goes back to a little bit of the inexperience that we're talking about. There are just places on this with these bumpers not line up. You see, he just lifted the rear wheels off the ground.
Well, Stenhouse was excused from last week's team meeting. I'm not sure he's going to be excused from this week's.
See that black car right there? I believe it's the 10 car.
Well, watch the
really
6 again.
Just so many cars spinning, it's hard to follow each one.
Still 2 by 2, no holes. Yeah, you need help?
Yeah, it's just something that you can't do right there.
That trival's a turn.
Yeah, your car's already light through there anyway. See, Carl's got his hands off the wheel. He knows he's going to get hit.
And you saw how many times it snapped back left, then right.
The garage.
Keeps you from breaking.
Back in 3rd spot.
Yeah, for now, he's looking for more. Here he comes on that outside.
You can hear the crowd over the noise. Oh, crash coming down towards finish. Kligerman's involved.
Caution's out.
The 16 of Colin Brown is involved.
7 of
Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch. Morgan Shepherd. Scott Lagacy.
Morgan Shepherd done a great job all day running up in the lead pack. See, the 7, I don't think Steve Arpin hit anything.
Morgan was running 29th at the time of the crash. And you saw Kyle going a lap down. Now, the damage to the 7 of Arpin. Arpin had been running in the top 15 all day long. I don't know if there was any contact. Let's take a look here.
You can see the 18s back here. He'd gotten out of the way of this group.
Yeah, there's a little contact right
Steve
there.
Steve Arpin with the 16 of Colin Brown.
Yeah. Boy, Morgan got it right there at the end.
Yeah, he almost made it through. Take another angle. Keep an eye on the 7, bottom of your screen. Right there. And that's all it takes.
Yeah, and that's just racing here at Talladega. I mean, you got cars moving, trying to position themselves, and just takes a little bit of contact.
You know, I've seen rookies do that. I've seen veterans do the exact same thing. This track just doesn't discriminate when it comes down to that. It's just so tight, so fast. Kligerman takes a lick.
Boy, yeah, he turned and pancaked the front nose of that car. All right, our 3rd caution now with our 2nd multi-car crash here at Talladega. Now officially 6 laps to go, but it's going to take some time to clean this one up. Who's going to win it? Stay tuned to find out. NASCAR history and win both ends of a nationwide Sprint Cup doubleheader in one day.
He's going to have to fight them all from both sides right here. He's got cars coming each way.
Here comes McMurray with a head of steam.
McMurray, oh, look out, little contact with a 32. McMurray says, hey, I was in front the last time. You took it away from me earlier today. He's going to try and take it away from him.
Oh, he's hung in the middle. Here comes Keselowski.
Got trouble now. Keselowski's got on the high side. Look out, they're going to go around.
McMurray.
Spin behind you.
Oh, big crash. Oh, and up into the wall. Look out. The caution is out. The race will finish. And it looks like Brad Keselowski is going to get the race win.
Bring it here. Bring it here.
See what happened.
See McMurray trying to get in line right here, right behind Harvick. Just not enough room.
Yeah, and he had to check up for just a second because he was on the right rear quarter of Kevin Harvick.
And then once he goes around, the chaos begins. Look at Setzer. Wow.
Good to see him get out of that car, but that catch fence does its job.
Well, and remember, they raised the catch fence after last year's race here. Also stretched it out over the racetrack. You're right. It did its job. Another view.
Let's see right there. Jamie McMurray just trying to get in. He was going to try to get there and push Kevin Harvick.
You got to remember,
an opening.
They're coming to the checker flag, so they're not going to let off.
Let's go on board with Justin Allgaier. Just listen.
2 outside. 2 spin in front of you. Watch him clear the bottom.
Duo. Trouble. Keselowski has spun and coming back onto the track and gets tagged.
That's a hard lick right there.
Heavy damage to that whole right front corner on the 22 of Brad Keselowski.
Like Josh Wise in that 39. And a little jockeying by Landon Castle actually kind of made an abrupt move in front of Keselowski. We saw that on the back straightaway too.
And then, wow, what a hard hit.
Well, Josh Wise just nowhere to go and just piles in there.
It looked like Todd Bodine ended up with some damage on the front of his car there. I believe that's who that was that came in and got into the back of Josh Wise then.
From high above in the blimp. You're right, Landon did just come down a little too much.
Right there, Castle was thinking maybe he was clear trying to get in front of Keselowski.
I was going to ask you, do you think he was maybe coming in to get back in line because they had worked together earlier? Boy, when he comes shooting back up across the track.
Man, see all that foam flying out of the door there.
All right, let's go back and listen one more time.
Check up. Stay where you're at right there. Watch your ass. You're clear up.
One more look. And the day is over for a couple of beautiful race cars. Oh, poor Josh Wise. He had nowhere to go. Stay with us. We're heading toward the checkered flag with 14 to go. With 12 laps to go here at Daytona, it has been a very eventful day for a lot of teams. A lot of beautiful new cars have been torn up. It has been wicked for some, very fast for everyone, and the two-car tandem has been the only way you can get to the front. That is the last caution that we have seen right there as Josh Wise comes together with the 22. Right now, Clint Boyer is the lead. Tony Stewart, he's getting the push from Castle. Coming out of 4. This is really going to be close.
Here goes Junior to the inside.
Junior to the inside. Boyer takes the lead and pulls on and at the stripe. It's Boyer. Stewart. I thought it was Boyer, but Tony Stewart does it. Almost found the 99.
Well, there's some sense of urgency to get with your teammates.
Oh, look out. Here we go.
Man.
Right into the wall. McMurray. Kyle Busch is involved. The 66 and the 99 of Waltrip goes around. Oh, and another late hit right there with McMurray unable to get the car stopped. Jamie's okay, but
Urgency, all these cars trying to get with each other, and you see some contact right there mid-pack. Looked like Boyer was involved in that.
That looked like Kyle Busch getting into Jamie McMurray is what got all of that started. And I think he was just trying to push Jamie, but a little bit too much of a push and maybe at the exact wrong spot on his rear bumper.
James Buescher and Justin Allgaier both slid through unscathed. Here's another look.
See this, they try to go up through the middle.
Looks like there was some contact with Michael Waltrip too at the same time.
And it could have been Boyer into the 18 also that made him get into the 1 a little bit harder.
On board, Stephen Wallace. Colin said it from the very beginning of the broadcast. It is always big here in Talladega, and this one was big.
You can see right there, you got three cars pushing each other, and they're just one's driving the other, and there's just no control.
Yeah, and I think Kyle was actually trying to stay off of Jamie a little bit after he saw he got him a little bit squirrely, but then Clint Boyer was on his bumper pushing hard.
All right, we still got a lot of cleanup to do. We're going to go on board with Clint Boyer as the big one occurs with 28 laps to go. Well, we've always talked about the big ones here at Talladega, Daytona. We've just had the big one today with 28 laps to go right down the backstretch, and about a dozen cars involved in this. Several have limped back. Look out! Don't stand, Mike Wallace, and he's up and over. Wallace gets back on all fours. The 38 of Leffler is also involved. The race is going to end under caution. And we'll have to wait for NASCAR to give us the official as to which car was the leader.
Mike Wallace able to drive this car run.
See Mike Wallace having a big run here, getting a push from Elliott Sadler. That's where it's all going to start, as they tried to make a move.
Boy, and then he gets airborne.
The caution does not come out right away here. It goes just a little bit longer before it does come out.
Yeah, the 18 was in front at that moment.
Carl Edwards gets spun in that altercation.
Still waiting for official word. Here's another angle.
It's a lot of push and shove. You know, Mike Wallace's car really was out of control the whole race.
And we've just got the official word. Kyle Busch is your winner. So he has now won an $1,000 bonus in the Nationwide Dash for Cash. Coming out of turn number 4. It looks like Joey Logano, who's been so good at pushing, may end up winning. Oh, crash in the back. At the stripe, the win goes to Logano, and look at the carnage behind. We have got one car on fire. There's what's left of McMurray.
That was a big, big, hard crash. See parts laying everywhere. There's Mike Wallace. Got the win in that down.
2 races in a row for him to get crashed on the very last lap. On the restrictor plate.
Same thing.
Almirola was the car that was on fire. He gets out okay. There's Stephen Wallace, and he looks to be okay. That's what's left of Tony Stewart's car and Danica Patrick's. For Elliott Sadler, the disappointment has got to be immense. He led the most laps. Last lap crash.
Well, that's all. That's just the last lap of a race. You can see Mike Wallace kind of got separated. He tried to block and pick up a little bit of air. He and Danica got together, and then that just created a big mess.
Hate seeing that many good race cars get torn up right at the finish. Heartbreaking.
And remember, for Joey Logano, as we take another look at it, he wins after starting at the rear of this field.
Yeah, and had to go back there again after having a spin on the backstretch and pitted too early. Had to go to the back of the pack then also.
There's another look at all the carnage, the flames on the 88. Let's go on board with Tony Stewart. Hold on.
Watch here now. Go outside here, outside.
I'm surprised the camera held on. Here's Danica's view. Those are the flames from Eric Almirola's car in front of her. Look at how it lit up the sky. One more view, and watch the 01.
Yeah, this is where Mike Wallace goes up. Danica gets a little bit, and actually the 88 gets back into the left rear of Danica and turns her down into the 01.
All right, so let's check in on some of the guys that were involved in this. Stephen Wallace is with Mike Massaro.
Yeah, he